Tonight, the heat is on. Records tumble as the capital sweats. Wimbledon enjoys its hottest opening day ever.
I'll be telling you why we're in for an uncomfortable night tonight, and more of the same tomorrow.
Also on the programme, the tree tragedy in Essex that killed a 7-year-old girl and leaves another in a critical condition. Dealing with dwarfism, TikTok sensation Fats Timbo is here to talk life lessons. And grand designs, what £40 million gets you when you're renovating Lambeth Palace. Good evening. London sweltered today as temperatures soared towards record-breaking highs. It's been the joint hottest June since records began and the hottest start to a Wimbledon Championships ever. But as the capital basked in sunshine, those who run the services we rely on did their best to keep their cool. Antoine Allen reports.
As temperatures rise, so does the risk of danger during the heat wave. London peaked at 33.1 degrees today, making this one of the hottest Junes on record. Lifeboat operators want the public to stay safe while seeking an escape from the heat.
Go as a group, understand what the tide's doing. That water can come in under 4 hours and cut everyone off completely. So it's being aware of the tides.
Andy has potentially life-saving advice for anyone that gets into trouble in the water and is waiting for help to arrive.
Float on their back, shape of a starfish, hands and legs out, and just stay calm. We will be coming along. If there's anything to get hold of that floating, that's even better.
According to the UK Health Security Agency, the heat wave is causing significant strain on the health and social care services. The London Fire Brigade has issued a warning for severe risk of wildfires. This year, LFB have already responded to 10 such call-outs. They are trialling new specialist equipment to tackle the growing threat to London's communities near parks and greenlands. This smaller fire truck is capable of going off-road, but they hope strong messaging will limit call-outs.
So far we've had 15 wildfires in London. Fortunately, they're not been big enough to affect residential properties, and that's just due to the rapid attacks of the vehicles that we've been attacking these fires with. It is a sign of things to come, I think, with the weather we're having now, and I think the future landscape of firefighting is definitely looking more likely that we're getting more and more wildfires.
The heat is putting London's transport network to the test. Workers and tourists travelled across the capital alongside an increase in commuters due to Wimbledon, which is off to a record start. It recorded the hottest opening day of the SW19 tournament's history. TfL are asking commuters to take the heat wave into account when planning their journeys.
We've got a comprehensive plan that looks at managing our infrastructure. We constantly manage track temperatures. We support our colleagues who are working very hard out on the network, and we're looking after customers during this hot weather.
London's Amber Alert has been extended until Wednesday morning. The next days in the capital are expected to be hotter than even Barbados. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Well, viewers of a certain vintage will remember the summer of 1976, and this year temperatures have been just as high. Well, Sally's in Wimbledon this evening. Sally, can we expect any let-up in this heat?
No, not just yet. Sadly for some of us, Carolyn. I'm at Wimbledon. It's absolutely baking. People here in the hot, hot sunshine, never mind those on court. They've had the hottest opening day to Wimbledon ever by more than 3 degrees. Top temperature today was recorded as 33.1 at Heathrow. Now, if you look at this chart, we didn't quite reach the 34 we thought we might have today, but we could well tomorrow. And then some of you might be pleased to hear the temperatures just come down as we go into Wednesday and through the rest of the week. I just want to also let you know, as you've mentioned, provisionally the joint warmest June on record, joint with 1976, and that hasn't included today's heat, so it could well be the warmest. That's off the record warmest spring in Greater London. So records being broke left, right and centre. I'll have more on the weather and the tropical night, which doesn't sound quite so fun, later on.
OK, Sally, thanks very much indeed. It was an emotional occasion at Chalkwell Park in Essex today as emergency service workers joined Southend's mayor in laying flowers for the victims of a tragic tree collapse on Saturday. A 7-year-old girl died and a 6-year-old girl remains in a critical condition after a branch of the tree, apparently propped up by metal poles, fell to the ground. From Chalkwell, Russell Hookey reports.
Just as on Saturday, when Chalkwell Park was packed with families, Southend was bathed in sunshine this morning as council members, emergency services and local people gathered close to the fallen tree that fell on 5 children, killing a 7-year-old girl and seriously injuring a 6-year-old.
We are all devastated by this tragic event. It's something that's been felt keenly across the whole city. And I think at the moment the community is very much reeling from what happened on Saturday.
As investigators continue to examine the tree just a few hundred yards away, more flowers arriving here all the time from a community in shock and disbelief as this garden becomes a focus for their grief.
Ever since I heard about it, it's been in my mind, and actually just being here today, it's just bringing a lot of emotion.
What a tragedy. You know, being so young as well, just out for the day playing, you know, with her family.
You can't comprehend it. And you think it can happen to anyone at any time. It's just devastating.
Around 50 people tried to lift the tree when it fell, including members of a cricket team. Among those at today's service, fire crews who fought to free the youngsters. They're being offered support and counselling.
The first crews who attended were with me here this morning. We continue to put in trauma risk management to all of our staff, and we'll continue to support them through, because not only they work for us, but they are part of the community.
Meanwhile, the City Council says it's too early to comment on what caused the tree, which was held up by metal props, to fall.
It is quite common for them to be propped. You see it in parks up and down the country, so they've been in place for a very long time. There is a live investigation. We stand ready to support colleagues with that investigation, but it needs to be done thoroughly and independently, and when we have the outcome of that investigation, we'll know what our next steps need to be.
But as that investigation continues, the need for answers in this seaside community is growing. People here asking how a day in the park could have ended in disaster. Russell Hookey, ITV News, Southend-on-Sea.
New images have been released of the sunken Bayesian super yacht after wreckage of the vessel was fully recovered from the water in Italy. 7 people died when it sank off Sicily last August, including billionaire Londoner Mike Lynch and his 18-year-old daughter Hannah. The recovery mission concluded after the 56-metre hull and the 72-metre mast were delivered to Italian authorities. Piccadilly Circus reopened this afternoon after a collision that left a 22-year-old man fighting for his life. A black BMW overturned in the early hours of Sunday near the Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain. 2 22-year-old men were taken to hospital. Now, in the almost 20 years that have followed the 7/7 London terror attacks, one common theme emerges from the survivors' stories: the lack of emotional support when it was needed the most. 52 people died on July the 7th, 2005, after a series of coordinated bombings ripped apart the capital's transport network. Hundreds more were injured. Campaign group Survivors Against Terror say the mental health response was under-resourced and that the system is broken. They spoke to our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
There was a time when the very idea of travelling by tube would give Ella a panic attack, with good reason. 20 years ago, she was on a Circle Line train blown up by a suicide bomber at Edgware Road.
Suddenly, there was just an almighty bang, and I assumed that the train had crashed.
52 people were murdered in the 7/7 terror attacks in 2005. 6 of them were killed in the Edgware Road blast. Ella was one of the lucky ones, or so she thought.
I'd injured my hand quite severely, and I'd also got cuts and bruises. My eardrums were damaged.
But like many people caught up in terrible events, Ella would later be diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder.
It was only as time went on that it became apparent that I was avoiding everything, including going out and talking about it, and you know, it was extremely difficult. I went to the doctor on a regular basis. I did a quiz to see how depressed I was and a quiz to see the level of PTSD, and they said you do need some help and you're on a list and you'll have to wait, and that was it.
Today, the campaign group Survivors Against Terror published a report marking the 20th anniversary of 7/7. It claimed survivors didn't get the support they needed.
Surely that was a different era. Things have improved since then.
You would expect so, wouldn't you? You would have hoped that the system would have changed, but in reality, we've got the same system, we've got the same delays. Manchester survivors that we work with very closely, so many of them still in exactly that same position.
I think the fact that I got out is a problem because other people didn't, and probably still do to some extent feel guilty about that.
Are you angry about how you and other survivors were let down?
Yes, yeah, and that, you know, I'm angry that I'm not convinced if it happens again that it's really improved.
The Home Office says it's committed to learning lessons from the past and plans to set up a support hub for survivors and victims. Ella doesn't like to talk about what she witnessed in the aftermath of the explosion. She's learned to cope with the flashbacks, and travelling by tube no longer holds any fear. Simon Harris, ITV News, Edgware Road.
Well, still to come on the programme. TikTok star Fats Timbo will be here to tell us her 10 commandments for living life fearlessly.
And I'm slowly or quickly baking to a crisp here at Wimbledon. We're looking at a tropical night tonight, which is not the fun it sounds like.
But first, police have described an attack on trans actress Jaylin Yee as a vicious transphobic hate crime. 2 people dragged Jaylin to the ground near Balham Station last week and kicked her repeatedly. She spoke to our reporter Helen Keenan about what happened to draw attention to the kind of hate crimes she says trans people are facing every day.
All she wanted was to get home safe. Instead, Jaylin was brutally beaten because she's trans.
The most horrible things that ever happened to me. It was very inhuman, it was vile.
How did you feel in that moment?
So broken. I feel no any human being should ever be treated in that way, dragging me on the ground. It's all over my body. These are the cuts, like my elbows, like my knees, and then the bruises around my finger as well. I lost a huge chunk of my hair because they just ripped my hair out from my scalp. He was shouting at me some transphobic slurs.
It happened in Balham around midnight on Thursday. The Met are looking for 2 suspects, a man and a woman, and have called the attack an appalling and vicious hate crime.
Living in London, especially as a trans woman, I don't feel safe. Just anything could happen. And then especially I think after the Supreme Court ruling, I think that's definitely embodies, you know, more hate for the public to, like, you know, attacking or targeting trans people.
Latest figures show there has been a rise in transgender hate crimes. The Met Police recorded 520 offences in the year to March 2024. The previous year, they recorded 412 offences, and 5 years prior, it was 240. But charities tell us it's underreported, and the figure could be much higher.
We estimate that there are more than 200,000 hate crimes against LGBT people within the UK in any one year. And we also know that trans people are the most likely within the LGBT community to suffer from a hate crime and an attack like this. So it is sadly very common.
Despite what happened to her, Jaylin says she doesn't want you to see her as a victim. Instead, asking for a positive show of support for the trans community. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Now, my guest tonight has over 3 million followers on TikTok. She's a comedian, a model, and now an author. And here's how Fats Timbo finally found her book on sale in the bookshop.
I got to find a way for my short people to reach it, so I got to put it down, okay? Where is it? I can't find a store anywhere. Oh my gosh. We found it. We found it. We did it. I did it, yes. I need to find a better spot for my book. That was not smooth.
We're laughing away here, Fats. That's absolutely brilliant. And I hope the book is in pride of place now, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's front and centre everywhere I go. Well, I'd love for it to be, but you know, it's in Amazon and it's in.
It's doing well.
It's doing well.
So what made you write it?
I wrote it because for a long time, I wasn't confident. I was very depressed. For those of you that don't know, I have a condition called achondroplasia, which affects my growth. It happened during birth, and I didn't have much representation growing up. I didn't see it whatsoever, and I want those that don't see themselves or those that are underrepresented to feel represented. So that's why I wrote this book, and I also wanted to write this book for future generations to come to read it, about what it's like to have my condition and what it's like to grow up with a disability and how to be confident and
You've
how
got
to
a
overcome it.
massive following, haven't you? So do people come to you and talk about their struggles? They ask you for advice?
Absolutely. People, parents, especially those that have a disabled child, they almost look to me as for hope, because my parents, they found out during their pregnancy, and you know, they had no idea how it would turn out, no idea how it would be, and now it's like, you know, it's okay to have a child with a disability, and you know, as long as they have the right support, the right care, it's about how the world adapts to them. And I think the world can be a bit scary for somebody that has a disability, but I think we need to just reduce the stigma against people with disabilities.
Which is exactly what you do, and you've been in Vogue magazine, haven't you? How did that come about?
That was insane. I thought it was a prank when they contacted me, because when I started modelling, I'll joke and say, you know, oh, you know, one day maybe I'll do Vogue. And to actually be able to achieve that dream was amazing, not just for me, but for so many other people with disabilities. It was just amazing. I have to give a big shout out to Sinead Burke for allowing me to have that opportunity, because without her driving that campaign, I don't know where I wouldn't have been able to have done it.
That's an amazing achievement. And getting into comedy as well, was that partly because of some of the struggles you had growing up? Is that a way of helping you sort of deal with them?
Absolutely. And the way my family deal with life, we laugh through things.
Yeah.
And I think laughter is the best medicine. So I wanted to share humour and how I see things and how I perceive the world in my content, and it's worked out really well, because a lot of people laugh at it, a lot of people can relate, and it also educates so many others as well, because I don't do it in a preachy way, and I think a lot of people are turned off in that way. So if I do it in a way where people laugh and understand it, it's the best way to educate people.
But I was reading today that you used to be an accountant a
Yes.
few years ago. Is there much comedy material in accountancy, would you say?
No, but I think the way I grew up, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, accountant, lawyer, and I picked one. I picked accountancy. But I realised that I had dreams outside of being an accountant, you know? And that's why I was doing extracurricular stuff. And the extra stuff kind of turned into my life. So I'm so happy I pursued my dreams. And anyone that wants to do something that's out of the ordinary, it can happen. You know, it's just because they haven't seen the people around them do it, but it's possible.
It definitely is. And you've even appeared on Mastermind. You've got loads more things that you want to do. Fats Timbo, thanks so much for coming on and being such an inspiration to everyone.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot. Well, to Wimbledon now, and the underdog story of this year's championships is Oliver Tarvett from St Albans. The 21-year-old world number 733 will face defending champion Carlos Alcaraz on centre court on Wednesday after a stunning straight sets win today. However, because he's a student in San Diego, college rules mean he won't be able to keep any of his guaranteed £99,000 prize money. Sidcup Sonray Kartal is into round 2 of the ladies' singles for the second successive year. The 23-year-old knocked out 20th seed Yelena Ostapenko in 3 sets to the delight of the crowd on court 3. Well, the players had to overcome the record-breaking temperatures at Wimbledon today, and the heat hasn't put the fans off either. Sally is in SW19 for us now. What a hot start to the tournament, Sally.
You're telling me I don't dare touch my face because all the makeup will come off on my hand. There's a semi-carnival atmosphere here. Lots of tents, people camping, people queuing, but the heat is subduing things a little bit, I won't lie. There's some people here who've come from Germany. Guys, give us a wave. This is the 5th time they've done this, so they know the drill. I also spoke to some people in the queue earlier to find out why. Where have you come from today?
From Maryland, United States.
What? Maryland, America? Are you okay in this queue?
This is the weather I live in.
Oh, fair enough. Yes, fair enough.
We'll get in to see the final point of like the last match.
It'll be the best point ever. Can I come in with you?
Yes.
What a relief. And how long have you been queuing?
Like since 12:30.
Wow.
I think.
Big tennis fan?
No, not at all. Sorry, I don't watch tennis.
Okay, there are no words to describe you, but well done. Good luck. I forget my umbrella in the rain, and I forget it in the sunshine. I must have a slight problem with them, but that is what I need. My mum did warn me. I'm just not physiologically designed for the sun, but look at these women here. They are fully lapping it up. I need to be more like them, don't I? I've mentioned, got this tropical night. I'll explain that more in the forecast, but what it means is our temperatures just don't really drop down, and that's why it's such hard work. But people here don't seem to care. Look at them all in the queue, hoping they'll get in tonight. Here we go. Here's the forecast.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again. Well, I hope you had a nice day. This photo must be a bit like having dinner in the bath, hopefully a cold one with these temperatures. We've got a really warm night to come, and then tomorrow more hot and humid weather. It does, however, start to freshen up a little bit from Wednesday, a slightly different feel. But let's go on to that tropical night. So these are the temperatures by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Usually when the temperature is at its lowest, they could still be hovering around 20 degrees, and that's the mark for something to be classed a tropical night, with the humidity as well feeling very uncomfortable for sleeping. And it means that things don't really cool down in our homes, so we start tomorrow on another really warm note, and as we go through the day with plenty more sunshine heading our way, if a little hazy at times, our temperatures could climb up to 33 or 34 degrees. There is the outside chance of a shower, but you can see from the graphics there, most places likely to stay completely dry. Let's take you into Wednesday. Now, this little feature just coming up from the south might bring some thundery downpours, but it's not looking quite as likely anymore, but we're just keeping an eye on it because it could develop. And then as we go into Thursday and Friday, those temperatures again on Wednesday as well, hovering around the mid-20s. So it's going to start to feel a little bit better once we get past tomorrow. Here's the pollen.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Despite those temperatures being above the optimum temperature for pollen, levels of grass and weed are still high to very high, I'm afraid, over the next few days. From us all here at Wimbledon, enjoy your evening. New balls, please. Cheerio.
Now, there's good news for whoever becomes the new Archbishop of Canterbury. The makeover of Lambeth Palace, their official London residence, is complete. And part of the £40 million refurb went on double glazing, solar panels and heat pumps. So, as well as reduced heating bills, what else can the next inhabitant expect from the Grade 1 listed upgrade? We sent Toby Sadler for a nose around.
Lambeth Palace is easy to miss. Not routinely open to the public, it's just across the river from the Houses of Parliament. From the outside, you only get to see Morton's Tower as you wait for the lights by Lambeth Bridge. But inside, it's a different story. A collection of Grade 1 listed buildings that's been the home and office for the Archbishop of Canterbury for 800 years. And for the past 3 years, A major renovation project has been bringing it into the 21st century, and I was lucky enough to get a tour.
So in terms of the refurbishment of the building, there's been some small repairs, which is the kind of lighter area of stone that you can see there. We've fixed the angels at the top of the building as well. One of their noses fell off, so you had to do a bit of a repair there. And then also refurbishment to the roof here as well. That's been completely replaced.
So this is the grand entrance, yeah?
Yes, this is the main entrance into the Ball building, one of the largest buildings at Lambeth Palace. And as a visitor, everyone will come in here for an event.
The entrance has been beautifully restored thanks to the dedication and skill of a team of craftspeople. Down the corridor, the previous archbishops make their presence felt. Everything you see here had to be refurbished, including the staterooms.
This is the state drawing room.
Wow. It's impressive,
It's a fantastic space, isn't it? All the surfaces in here had to be replaced. The radiators.
By surfaces, you mean rip out all the cables,
all the
pipes,
cables,
all of that stuff.
pipe work, all the radiators had to be replaced.
Next door, the dining room got a similar treatment. The crockery, a replica of a set made for Queen Victoria and used only once. The real ones are locked in here. The plan is to be net zero by 2050, so on the roof, a bank of solar panels, and hidden from sight, 3 heat pumps provide all the power the palace needs.
We're heading into the Great Hall, which is one of the larger function spaces within Lambeth Palace.
The Great Hall used to be a world-famous library. The book's now moved to a new building.
So this is the Great Hall where we did quite a bit of work in. We replaced the bookcases on either side with panelling, but using the original features of the bookcases themselves.
And looking at the wood up there, I mean, it looks really old. You sure it's safe?
It is safe. Of course, they do a lot of surveys here as well to make sure that it remains so.
So if you come here for an event, this is the room you're likely to come into?
This is the room.
With all the major work done, public events are already being held here. And that's the point of the place. When a new archbishop is appointed, they'll live in a flat hidden from the public, allowing the rest of Lambeth Palace, which is now modern and accessible, to be used as a place of hospitality, welcome and worship. Toby Sadler, ITV News.
Beautiful place. Well, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Charlene. But for now, from all of us here, enjoy your evening. Try to stay cool. Good night.